Hello, beautiful soul. My name is Yulia, and I'm the voice of the podcast Love to Heal. This podcast outlines my journey from atheism to Judaism, exploring spirituality from diverse perspectives. It is my hope that my journey will inspire others to embark on their own adventure of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Over the summer, I had the opportunity to attend a Bat Mitzvah. I never had my own, and I haven't been to many in my life. I do remember going to a couple while I was studying in a Jewish day school between grades 6 and 8, and then my stepdaughter had one a few years ago, followed by my nephew. But that's really it. So when I got invited to this one, our neighbor's daughter, she was having a bat mitzvah. I was very excited because, first of all, these events are always a blast. But also, now that I am a practicing Jew, I really wanted to experience this event from a spiritual perspective. Because now it means so much more to me than just a party. Plus, our neighbors attend a different synagogue, one that I've never been in. It's a conservative one, and I was really curious to see how it compared to our Orthodox shul. So, before I go any further, let me just clarify what exactly the bar and bat mitzvah is and why it's an important milestone in Jewish tradition. A bar mitzvah is a Jewish coming-of-age ritual. It happens for boys at age 13, and then the bat mitzvah happens for girls at the age of 12. Simply put, and I mean really simply because there's a lot more to it, but simply it marks their transition into adulthood. It signifies the assumption of religious obligations and responsibilities within the Jewish community. So after a bar or bat mitzvah, boys and girls are considered obligated to observe Jewish law and tradition. For instance, they should keep kosher, they should attend synagogue services, and it's very important that they set a positive example for others. While it's not mandatory, a bar or bat mitzvah ceremony is a common way to celebrate this milestone. And it often includes 3 things: the Torah reading, when the boy or girl reads a specific portion from the Torah, the portion of the week that coincides with the date of the bat or bar mitzvah. They deliver a speech pertaining to the Torah portion that was read. Perhaps they might talk about how this portion is significant for them, how it pertains to their life, how it inspires them. And then other rituals may include wearing a tefillin for boys. This is the leather box and cord that is placed between the eyes on the head of the boy, and then also there's a cord that wraps around the left arm as a connection to God. And then there's the aliyah. This means being called up to the Torah. And then after this ceremony, most of the time, there's a festive meal or a party that follows the ceremony to make it extra special and memorable for all the friends and family. So the bar and bat mitzvahs, I would say in the United States, because I really haven't been to this kind of event in other countries, but from what I have experienced, these events are similar to weddings in their size and the amount that it costs to put something like this together. It's crazy. I mean, most of these parties that I've been to definitely were way bigger and more expensive than a lot of weddings that I've attended, including my own. But then again, my own wedding was very tiny on the beach, so I really can't even compare it to that. But it all starts with a fancy printed invitation in the mail. This is really funny, but our neighbors, our next door neighbors, literally, they live the next house over. They still mailed us a beautiful invitation, and we responded by mailing the answer to them in a stamped envelope. So the theme of their daughter's bat mitzvah was wicked, and her color combination was pink and green. I guess we were supposed to adhere to the color scheme. I realized this when I saw most of the people at the party dressed in either pink or green. I don't know how I missed that. And then, so the evening of the event, we arrived at the synagogue at 6 p.m. As soon as we entered the synagogue, I couldn't help but notice how grand it was. It is much fancier and bigger than our synagogue. And its main distinction, I would say, is the sanctuary where people pray. Because in a conservative synagogue, men and women sit together, while in our Orthodox synagogue, we sit apart. So that's probably the main difference that I noticed. But also, like I said, this synagogue was much bigger and much fancier. Also, the conservative synagogue, they are more liberal. So this means the rabbis dress like regular people in suits. They don't wear tzitzis. They don't have beards, no hats, no long sideburn hair, etc. I also noticed that the prayer books were different from the ones we use, but the prayers were the same. So then we sat down for the Havdalah service, and this service marks the separation between the end of Shabbat and the new week. This service was led by a rabbi and a cantor, but the bat mitzvah girl, she stood on stage at the podium throughout most of the service, and she recited the blessings either along with the rabbi and cantor or even by herself, and then she read from the Torah. I should add that boys and girls read the Torah in Hebrew, and this requires preparation months in advance or even years for many people. At various points throughout the service, her parents, grandparents, and other family members came up to recite specific blessings with her, to hold the Torah and parade it around the room so that everybody could kiss it. Typically, we take the prayer book, touch the Torah with the prayer book, and then kiss the prayer book. This is the most popular and recommended way to do it because it creates a better spiritual connection to God through the prayer book. But if you don't have a prayer book in your hand, then you can just use your hand as well. Touch the Torah and then kiss your hand. So then her parents also made a short speech to their daughter, congratulating her, telling her how proud of her they are, and wishing her easy and meaningful transition into adulthood, and to continue the Jewish tradition, of course. It was a really lovely and moving service. I think I even teared up at some point, and I told my husband, I whispered to him that when our kids go through this, I'm going to be probably bawling. At events like this, I get really emotional. And of course, with everything that's going on right now with Israel and the war, we said a special prayer for the soldiers and for the people that are at risk and involved in this war. So we just prayed for peace overall. After this, we moved into a beautiful lobby where there were appetizers and drinks awaiting us amongst the wicked-themed decor. There was a long yellow carpet for the yellow brick road, tons of balloons, and beautifully set up high top tables. So we kind of all gathered around those tables, had a drink. Then there was also a table set up for the gifts and a special box for the cards. So it is customary to give money to the bat or bat mitzvah girl or boy. And the way we do this is in multiples of 18, because number 18 is represented by the Hebrew word chai, which means life. And this symbol of life is associated with good luck and blessings. And that is what we did. We gave a card. I wrote in the popular saying in Hebrew, Mazel Tov, which means congratulations, and a few other words of congratulations and wishing her a successful future and everything. And we included in there a check with an amount that's a multiple of 18. So like you can do 18, 36, 72, etc. Depending on how close you are to this person. If it's a relative, you probably want to give, I don't know, well, definitely over 100. Some people give over 200, just depends. If you're just a friend, for example, like when my stepdaughter used to go to her friend's bat mitzvahs, because a lot of her friends had bat mitzvahs or bar mitzvahs, we would do like under 50, which is fine if just one kid is going to the bar mitzvah. But since we were a family of 4, we gave a little bit more. After this, after mingling there for a while and taking pictures, there was a professional photographer there as well. We proceeded into the main party room. Before entering, we looked at the seating chart to see which table we were assigned. The tables had stunning centerpieces, I have to say. And now the wicked theme was even more apparent. Each centerpiece also held a logo designed specifically for the girl's bat mitzvah. They were the first letters of her first, middle, and last name. So in her case, it was RHS. This is now a common practice. I personally don't remember so many details being necessary back when I was a teenager and attended my friends' bar bat mitzvahs, but nowadays I know that everyone does this. So there were probably, I want to say, 8 round tables set up for mostly the adult guests and also like the neighbors and other people that were not part of the family. And then there was a very, very long table set up just for the kids across the dance floor. So all the teenagers were sitting by themselves. There was an entertainment team, probably of 7 people, which is one of the largest that I've personally seen. And they were, when we entered the room, they were all ready to get the party started. They opened with some games and contests like the hula hoop and other high energy activities. Nearby, there was also a spray tattoo artist, which my kids visited several times. There was a photo booth, and this one our whole family enjoyed thoroughly. And then there were other snacks set out for the kids. After a little while, the DJ introduced the whole family, calling each family member in order. I think they started with the dad, the mom, the 3 kids. Well, first the brother and the sister, and then finally the bat mitzvah girl. And everybody would cheer them on as they entered the room, and then they went on stage, and the parents said a few words of like welcome and thank you for, celebrating with us. And then it was time for dinner. It was a buffet style dinner. It was all meat, no dairy. And they served all kinds of food. They had salmon, burgers, pasta, salads, and all kinds of things. Sometime after that, they projected a slideshow of pictures and videos of the bat mitzvah girl from when she was a baby to today. So that was really sweet. And then once the kids ate, they all started doing line dancing. And then it was time for the famous Hava Nagila. This is a dance and song that is present at every celebration. We cannot do without it. Hava Nagila literally means let's rejoice. And to dance it, people gather in a circle, they hold hands, and they dance round and round, usually doing like a grapevine step with the feet. And in the middle of the circle, 4 strong men, this time including my husband, what they did is they lifted up a chair, first with the bat mitzvah girl, then her mom, then her dad, then her brother and her sister. So there was a lot of laughter and joy during this part, as there always is. This is a tradition, like I said, we can't do without. It's present at weddings and other holidays. So that was super fun. As it was getting darker, the entertainers handed out all kinds of blinking trinkets, such as bracelets, rings, glasses, and also they handed out some fun hats and sunglasses. And then they turned on the fog machine, and the kids were just kind of going crazy, dancing and jumping around to the music. I kind of wish that I hadn't worn my really high heels because they definitely prevented me from dancing too much. But at the same time, maybe it was for the best because I probably would have embarrassed my kids dancing around with them. So it was just mostly like a time for the teenagers to just have a good time. But all the girls nowadays, they wear tennis shoes with dresses. And even the mom of the girl, our neighbor, she changed into her tennis shoes after the ceremony. So apparently people like comfort. It's more important than how you look, which is really, really great, actually. I don't know. Like I said, I probably shouldn't have worn my super high heels. But anyway, then after that, it was time for dessert. And this included all kinds of desserts like cake pops, some kind of s'more-looking desserts, like s'mores with various toppings. They had cannoli-looking sweets and other yummy things, and they were all dairy-free, of course, because the dinner was all meat. At this point, it must have been around 10 p.m. We honestly, my husband and I didn't think we would stay this long because of our kids. They're ages 5 and 7 right now. And typically they go to bed at 8, but they were going strong. I mean, they were dancing and having fun. So we stayed around a little longer. When we finally left the party room, sometime after 10, the party went actually until 11 p.m. So some of the older kids stayed. In the lobby, when we were leaving, we were handed a party favor. They were beautifully put together. Each child received a t-shirt with the Bat Mitzvah logo and the date and everything, as well as a personalized keychain. It was this wooden keychain with the name of the child carved into it. So that was super cute. On the way home, my youngest immediately fell asleep in the car, but my son, who is almost 8, he already started planning his own bar mitzvah because he was only, how old was he? When my stepdaughter had her bat mitzvah, he was probably, I don't know, like 3 years old. So he doesn't remember it at all. So this bat mitzvah, he was able to experience it and remember it. So that's why he was really inspired to start planning for his own bar mitzvah. Fun for him, not so much for the parents. But thankfully, we still have 4 years before we need to worry about it. And even then, my husband, he hopes that instead of having a huge party, that my son will agree to us traveling to Israel and just having a very small bar mitzvah there, maybe at the Western Wall, like some people do. But that would be so meaningful. It would be so much more meaningful spiritually than having a big party to sort of, I don't know, like it doesn't have to be necessarily to show off for your friends. But there is a little bit of that competition. Like, who is going to have the best bar mitzvah party, who is going to give out the best party favors, who's going to have, the coolest DJ. So my husband kind of wants to stay away from that and make it just a really meaningful event for our children spiritually. So we shall see. In 4 years, we will see what my son agrees to. If you'd like to see photos and video from this event, you can head to Instagram or TikTok at Love to Heal Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and share. And I will leave you today with a quote from Rabbi Jonathan Sachs from one of his broadcasts titled, "The best present we can give our children is the chance to do something great." Enjoy, and until next time. Children grow to fill the space we create for them. And if it's big, they grow tall. But if we turn them into mini consumers, we rob them of the chance of greatness. And I've not yet met a child not capable of greatness if given the opportunity and encouragement. Judaism is a child-centered religion. My earliest memories are of putting the bells on the Torah scroll in the synagogue, asking the Passover questions, lighting the Hanukkah candles. Judaism stayed young because it made heroes of the young. The best present we can give our children is the chance to do something great. It's a gift that will last a lifetime and transform their lives.